By the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what to do to shrink your hanging belly fat in just weeks. This system is really simple and is designed to progress with you. So I'm gonna show you how to start and how to end, like where you'd be ending in the system. But it's designed to not cause a bunch of suffering like a typical diet and exercise program. I've been a personal trainer for 10 years. And so if you wanna see the dial system that I use with my clients to dial in all of their stuff and make sure that they actually keep the weight off at the end of a fat loss journey, you can look at that in the pinned comment or the link in the description below. So the secret to this system, I think, is the ramping up nature of it. So everything's going to get a little bit more intense throughout the system or throughout the plan. And so the first thing we're going to focus on is going to be steps. I think a person should usually aim to, this kind of depends on your situation. You could totally go down or up a little bit from here to start. It doesn't really matter. You just try and then you see where you end up. But a person should really try for about 8,000 steps a day to start. And then as they progress, adding 500 to 1,000 steps per week until they're up to like 12,000. When the steps start to get to something that's like, I never imagined I could walk that much every single day, that's whenever a person really starts to melt off the fat because they're doing so much more activity than they were before. And instead of it just being like, I'm getting on a treadmill and going, it's being more active throughout your entire day. So it's a little bit easier instead of committing to like one thing that you just might not be used to yet. Habit number 2 is going to be food logging. So just like at the start with 8,000 steps, you're also going to start food logging. And you're going to just start by logging whatever you want, the best guess you have, and eat whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Right now, simply food logging is going to probably get you a little bit of results, if not a lot of results. And then we're going to hone in on, better food logging. So that would be choosing cleaner foods. That'd be choosing more single ingredient foods at first and not quite getting into recipes, which is one of my favorite things. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But for now, think, like I said at the start, maybe think, McDonald's. Doesn't matter. As long as you're logging it, you're probably going to eat a little bit less. You're probably going to make a little bit better decisions. But then quickly getting into, okay, so I'm going to have, steak, potatoes, and carrots. Single ingredient foods. It's a nice, easy way of putting a meal together. But then progressing into recipes. Right before I get into recipes, though, I forgot to mention that the last progression on the food logging is actually using a food scale. Now, this probably actually makes it easier, so it's not really a progression in terms of like it gets harder. But using a food scale and measuring out grams instead of cups and tablespoons and all that makes everything so much easier. So let's just take, Greek yogurt for an example. If you're doing, Greek yogurt on top of your tacos, because believe it or not, it is a pretty good replacement. You might be thinking, what? That is so weird. It's a pretty good replacement for, I don't even know what, sour cream. There we go. It tastes pretty identical to sour cream. A lot of times I have actually my clients switch out their sour cream for Greek yogurt and see if their kids will notice. And a lot of times, most of the time, they don't. So it's a pretty good replacement for that. But let's just take that as an example. Let's say a serving was 200 grams, and it'll say that on the food log. So you want 100 grams. It's pretty easy. You set it on the scale. You press tare, so now the scale says 0. And you scoop it out until it says minus 100. And now you know you have an exact serving of exactly what you wanted. It just makes things a whole lot easier. Almost every food label has grams in parentheses right next to the cup or tablespoon or teaspoon or whatever it is. Okay, so now the next step or the next habit isn't really a progression, it's adding on. So you're gonna take the skill that you learned of food logging and using the grams on the ingredients label, and you're gonna start making recipes. Now this gets a whole lot easier if you download my recipe book. It is totally free. Just DM me over on Aaron Trainer Fitness on Instagram. You could leave a comment also, below this video, I guess, and I'll figure out a way to get your emails, shoot it over to you. But it's totally free. I have meal prep size recipes. So it's a meal prep cookbook. Instead of you cooking, frequently, you cook 2 or 3 of these, and no joke, it lasts my family the entire week. So now, yes, you're eating on the same 3 dinners the entire week, but it's pretty nice. You pull it out. They are delicious recipes. There's mac and cheese in there. There's Mexican lasagna in there, I think, somewhere. And there's only like 9 or 10 recipes so far. I need to continue building it out. But it is so easy just to put this together, follow this recipe book, and then at the end, or I guess technically at the beginning, but after you've made it and you have it, I tell you grams that, you put it on the food scale and you scoop it out till it says 432 grams or whatever it is, and you now know that you don't have to wonder about cups. You don't have to wonder, am I eating, well, this kind of looks like a serving. You don't have to wonder about any of that. You know the grams. Now, if you're completely not used to cooking at all, you might want to start with just basic recipes. And I know this isn't technically a recipe, but if you've put together a sandwich, you have put together a recipe. It could be chili at first. Now, I have chili in the recipe book, but I'm saying that's pretty easy. Just cook some meat. Once the meat's cooked, you add a bunch of canned goods to it with some chili seasoning. Like, you can do this. You can start with that, and I promise you can progress into harder things. But again, I want to stress the stuff in my cookbook is not hard. It's just, more than you might be used to. Okay, now step number 4, I'm actually going to be holding my phone here for a second, is going to be your workouts. So start by doing 2 workouts per week, any day of the week. Doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if it's Monday and Tuesday. I would rather now this is a weightlifting workout, like total body, 2 sets per body part. I would rather you spread those out, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But 2 workouts per week, any days of the week, doesn't matter. This is to get your confidence up. If I can go to the gym and I can do this. Any 2 days, doesn't matter if you have to, I planned on going Wednesday, but I had to cancel it and go all the way on Friday. You got this, okay? So after you are going to the gym 2 times per week, doing total body, which is your chest, your back, your quads, so it's something like some sort of squat, your hamstrings, your biceps, triceps, and shoulders. That's a pretty basic total body program, 2 sets on each. Once you get used to that, I bet you could be in and out of the gym in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So that's a pretty basic program. Then progress to 3 days per week and try to actually have some, coordination to it, if you will. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, something like that. 3 sets per body part, because you probably have progressed to the point where you may need 3 sets per body part. Then progress to each set being close to failure. So that's the quality of your workout. So let's say week 1, you're doing 2 workouts per week. Week 2, maybe you're doing 2 workouts per week. Week 3, you might do 3 workouts a week, and there's actually like a structure to it, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then week 4, because, adding the structure isn't too much to learn, isn't too much to add, you actually start pushing your sets close to failure. There's a video on if you want to see what failure looks like, it is actually, harder to, you might think, oh, well, that's pretty easy. I just go until I can't move the weight anymore. But it's pretty hard to actually gauge where failure is if you're not used to it. So I show you in a couple of my videos. They're like a vlog style video. I think it was emotional eating, and I'm holding like a tub of ice cream in the thumbnail that I made from my recipe book. So if you go look at that video, you'll find in there where I'm working out really close to failure, where I almost couldn't move the weight. If I would have tried another rep, I might have been able to get it. That's close to failure. That's giving you quality lifting in your sets. And then you'll build muscle because of the quality of your lifting. You're pushing your body hard, safely, of course, removing it would be good to go check out that video. So pushing those close to failure is the next way to progress your workouts. And really that's as far as you would have to go. 3 sets, 3 times a week. You wouldn't need to progress anything past that. Okay, so habit number 5. Now this is going to be added with these other habits. So real quick, I just kind of want to summarize. You're going to be right off the bat adding steps and food logging. Meal prepping comes as like a result of getting better at food logging. So there's kind of still only 2 steps and meal prep / food logging. And then your weightlifting workouts, that all starts at the same time. And then cardio. Now cardio is something that's kind of added because at first you're going to start with steps. So at first, start with no cardio. In week 3, maybe week 2, if you feel comfortable with it, add 1 day of 20 minutes of cardio. Again, this is more of a confidence builder than anything else. And I promise you, if you're going to the gym 3 times a week, remember you got those 2 weightlifting sessions and then the 3rd cardio session, this is going to start to all build. Your body isn't used to this. You're going to lose weight. All right. So let's say you do 1 day of 20 minutes. And then in week 4, you do 2 days of 20 minutes. Week 5, somewhere around there, do 3 days of 20 minutes. And then week 6 and so on, you're adding as much as you can until you can't add days per week anymore. Give yourself at least 1 full day off. And then start adding time to it. Now, your steps will naturally be increasing with it. Remember how I said at the very beginning, try and get up to something that you're like, I can't believe I'm getting this many steps. That's going to be really good for you. Remember that right there is what is going to ultimately lead to, a ton of weight loss for you. So by you increasing your cardio, let's say you increase it to 4 days per week and you're like, I can't do a 5th day per week. It just doesn't work on my schedule. That's fine. Then from there, you do 25 minutes per workout. Then you do 30 minutes per workout and think that's adding 20 minutes per week. Even by just adding 5 minutes to each workout, you're actually adding 20 minutes of cardio per week. If we look back at the original cardio that you added, you were only adding 20 minutes for entire days, so it's kind of like adding a whole day, so 5 minutes added to each workout, another 5 minutes added to each workout until eventually you're maxed out on time as well. So let's say you find out your max is 12,000 steps a day, 3 days a week weightlifting, and 4 days a week cardio at 45 minutes. You have now found your maximum amount that you're able to give to your fitness, and then your diet has to match. And that's going to be starting to cut down on calories and everything. And that is really with my dial system that I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. So if you haven't already, go ahead and click the link in the description or the pinned comment, and that'll take you over to how to like dial these things in for really long longevity. But this is about like a short, in this window, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, really trying to shrink our hanging belly fat. That's the goal here.